Okay, hello, here's my proper warm welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to another video. I kind of have so much that I want to tell you guys, so buckle your seatbelts. Before I go off on my random stories, I do want to intro this vlog. So this vlog is going to be all about how I built my body. Now, it's kind of going to be similar to like a my fitness journey video, except I'm really strictly just going to be focusing on how I built my physique, specifically the different phases that I went through, how I trained during each phase. And I'm going to start literally from the beginning up until now. And I just really felt called to make this video because, full transparency, the main reason why I started my fitness journey was because I genuinely just did not like my physique, and I loved the way other girls looked through weight training and weightlifting, and I was like, whoa, I want to do that too and transform my body that way. It really allowed me to work through so many different insecurities and actually like take action to create change and like become more confident in the way that I look. And also going with it, I did want to say, like, I know that I titled this video like how I built my goal body, and I specifically said goal body as opposed to dream body because I do want to make this very, very clear. Like, I've been working out and weight training for like 5 years now, maybe even more than that, and I just remember being like, just thought it was gonna be like the promised land when I achieved this certain body goal. And I just want to be very real and give you guys some perspective, because you know, like the whole concept, like the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Like, I just kind of want to prove that to you guys, because like even now I still struggle with body dysmorphia, with my insecurities, with still constantly wanting to change things. I'm constantly tweaking my training and like how I want my physique to look, all that stuff. Like, it's like constant refinement. But to me, like, I think that's a beautiful part of the process of bodybuilding, because you're essentially sculpting your body. Like, I do genuinely see it as an art. I am so much more confident with my physique now than when I was when I first started. However, I just want you guys to keep in mind that like once you achieve a certain body or whatever, that doesn't mean it's going to bring you confidence. It doesn't mean it's going to bring you happiness. It doesn't mean it's going to solve all your problems. Like, you need to love yourself now, and any physical progress or physique changes is just going to be the cherry on top. But just solely depending on the physique changes is not going to bring you fulfillment, genuine joy, self-love, confidence, happiness. Like, it needs to come from the inside first, and then the outside will do its thing. I promise you that. And I just really wanted to get that point across, because that's something that like I just wish almost someone told me that in the beginning, because I just constantly was so externally focused, and I thought that my external image would give me this self-love and confidence. And the fact of the matter is, like 2-3 years into my fitness journey, I was so the least confident I had genuinely ever been, the most disconnected from myself I had ever been. And that's when I realized, like, damn, if I keep going the way that I'm going, keep depending on changing the way that I look to hopefully fulfill me some way on the inside, it just ended up being a constant rat race with absolutely no end. It was constantly a moving target. And so I knew I needed to recenter and look inward. And that's what finally gave me like the self-confidence, the self-love, the inner joy that I've been looking so long and hard for, and that I thought would come through changing my physique. So I know I was gonna talk about mindset, but I can't help it. It's just like, I believe in it so much. First thing that I wanted to share with you guys is this freaking one piece. I put it on my TikTok, but I feel like I didn't give it the love and attention that it deserves. This is a one piece, okay, from Free People. This is a piece of clothing that you didn't think that you need, but you do need. It's just like a one-piece activewear set in general you need. Like, it's so cute, and that's the back of it. You know when you can like just like toss on a dress? I personally love just wearing really loose sundresses because you don't need to pick out a top and a bottom, just like throw it on, it's so comfortable. It's literally the perks of that, but like athletic wear form. This is hella zoomed, but I just made my brekkie. I really want to do affirmations with you guys. I haven't done them in so long. Like, I don't know the last video that I did them in, so we're gonna do them together. I started to say them out loud today. I was like, dude, I need to do them with my YouTube fan. It's been a hot minuto. Here we go, boys. I am beautiful. I am happy. I am grateful. I am giving. I am patient. I am kind. My heart space is open. I am ready to receive my next blessing. I see life through a lens of abundance. I live in the frequency of love, light, light and abundance. I release fear and live in love. I let go of expectation and of the past and the need to know. I let go of anxieties. I let go of self-doubt. I let go of insecurities. I let go of overthinking. I trust my path and divine timing. I trust that everything is working out as it should, when it should, and for my highest good. I see beauty all the time, all around me, everywhere I go. I focus on the good in my life. I am successful. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. Woo! Good freaking morning. Happy Monday, boys. This looks very formal. Fancy seeing you guys here. Wait, need a napkin. Okay. Now I want to tell you guys these stories that I want to tell you guys that are kind of like not relevant, but I just feel like telling you guys. First of all, I saw Louis the Child this past weekend and they were literally incredible. I don't know if you guys like EDM music, but my soul was literally unleashed, elevated, it left my body. My energetic frequency, you guys, was so freaking high. The next thing, I don't know if you guys are gonna think this is funny, but I think this is literally me in a nutshell right now. So last night, it was a Sunday, so I just like wanted to like have like my Sunday night to like kind of realign with myself, ground myself again, like get in tune with everything. So I went to the sunset spot. Straight up, I got the cops called on me, and she comes up, she's this older woman, and she's like, hey, like totally expecting something sketchy. And she's like, hi, I'm with the da-da-da police department. Like I just got a call about a suspicious vehicle, blah, 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 blah. And literally I'm there like my freaking tuna salad container, my journal, my cards, and I'm like, the most harmless that someone could be. And she's like, totally thinks that I was like up to something no good. And I was like, nah, bro, like, I'm just trying to realign for the week, you feel me though? I was like, wanna pick a card though? Alrighty, I went for my little mid-morning walk, and now let's get into the meat of the video, what I really want to talk to you guys about. The main thing that I want to get across when I'm explaining how I built my body is that I essentially built my body in phases, which I'm gonna explain in a second, but you don't necessarily need to do this, especially if you're just starting out. But I personally went more so through bulking and cutting phases. This is just what resonated with me the most. I felt like it was the most efficient. So this all started in 2016. So it's been a hot freaking minute. So I've been lifting for a while. Technically, I was a junior in high school when I first started to dabble into all of this, and then my senior year of high school is when I really dove into it. Again, I have a whole video on my fitness journey if you want to watch that. That's going to be more involving my like mentality aspect and that sort of thing, and like the learning curves throughout my journey. So I'll link that up here if you want to watch it. But so essentially, I started out, like I said, I was very skinny. Here are some before photos. My sister used to call me granny butt because my butt was so flat. My dad would draw me as a stick figure because I was so skinny. But nevertheless, it really made me want to get into the gym. I knew that I personally, my number one goal was that I really wanted to build my legs and my glutes, and again, just give myself some curves. Really, all I was doing was just lifting weights and eating everything. I did not track at all. I didn't even know what tracking was. I didn't even know that people did it. I just only thought it was for bodybuilders. I was not taking really any supplements. I would have like the occasional protein bar because my dad would eat them and they just tasted good, and I would need one for a snack or something like that. And I was training at this time while also playing sports in high school, and I was also just researching a lot. Honestly, looking back, I did make a lot of progress just because I was eating so much, and again, I kind of had that newbie gains effect. It was my first time actually weight training, and so I just kind of put on a lot of muscle quickly, as well as also with me just being so active by playing sports. And in terms of my training, I just was doing very basic hypertrophy style training right through my research. So I'd be doing, you know, exercises from like 8 to 12 reps, if you will, for 3 to 4 sets, just very, very basic. And I kind of would do that for all of my exercises. During that time, that's when I would look up like top 5 best exercises to grow your glutes and all that sort of stuff. I still was pretty much doing the basics. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I don't really think I did a lot of like free weight like RDLs or stiff legged deadlifts or things like that. I would do more like cable work, machine work, and then like squats, step ups, and like maybe some lunge work. So then fall of 2017 is when I went to college. Everything got serious and I kind of went into my first bulk. So this is from fall of 2017 to the spring of 2018. This is when I kind of researched about, you know, what it means to go through an actual bulk. This was the first time I really committed to it, and this was when the first time like I was at college, so I was able to like really just make my own routine. I had the dining hall so I could eat like whatever I wanted, essentially whenever I wanted. So here I lifted very heavy as I could. I just constantly focused on trying to lift more weight than I did the week before. I had a very classic push-pull leg split, meaning I would do upper body push movements, which is chest, triceps, and shoulders, which is like a push-up, bench press, tricep extension, those sort of movements, anything that's a push. And then pull is your back and your biceps, so like pull-ups, any sort of rows, bicep curls, that would be my upper body pull day. And then legs, I would train essentially like just like total legs. I think at some point I broke it up into quads and glutes and hamstrings and glutes, but it wasn't like super particular, if you will. I trained everything very evenly, and I focused on progressive overload, like whether it be my upper body lifts or my lower body lifts. Again, I stayed in the same like hypertrophy range, about 8 to 12 reps, sometimes higher than that. I remember I trained a lot with like supersets, and like I would do supersets when I would be doing compound movements. Looking back, I don't really have to say that I'm against it, but like now knowing what I know, I don't really think that's the most efficient way to train, just because it's taking away from you being able to push more weight on those compound movements. Like I would do compound moves and then band work right after, like superset it with it, and I remember I loved it in the moment. And I don't know, I kind of like stopped doing that now. I think it yielded me results, but I think what really yielded me the results was just me increasing my weight with my compound movements. And I also did a lot of exercises. I remember I would do like 8 exercises for my leg days. Granted, I was eating a lot more than I am now, but 8 exercises on leg day is still a lot, especially when I'd be doing like a majority of compound movements. I just remember I'd be working out like literally for 2 hours to hit legs, and it's not like from talking to people or long rest times, like it was just because I had that long of a workout. So again, any advice for that looking back now, I would say to stick to anywhere between like 4 and maybe max 7 exercises. I did track once super roughly. Again, I couldn't weigh anything, so I really don't know, but I remember I roughly tracked just a guesstimate of everything, and it was around 3,000 calories. So I was eating a ton, lifting a ton, 6 days a week. I would never miss a day. I honestly saw a lot of results, and looking back now, I kind of almost think that was like the best I ever looked. Then come spring of my freshman year of 2018, so it got to a point where I was a little bit uncomfortable with the amount of muscle that I had on my upper body. So I went through my first like mini cut here. Again, I didn't really know what I was doing, because like I said, my #1 goal was always to put on mass. So I was constantly researching how to put on muscle, but never how to lose body fat. So at this point, I kind of just mindfully ate less. I still didn't track or anything like that. I didn't know anything about like the benefits of daily steps or walking, and I didn't believe in list cardio at all, or low intensity steady state. I just didn't believe in any of that. I really only believed in HIIT. So I did HIIT training via like doing full like body weight circuits, or sprinting on the treadmill, or doing like bike intervals on a stationary bike. And it was intense, but like it still worked for me. I don't know, I leaned out, and I definitely got to a point that I was happier with. And then summer of 2018, I just kind of chilled out. I wasn't lifting as much. I didn't really have strict lifting goals. I just was kind of chilling with where I was at. And I would say at that point, I probably was eating around like 1,800 calories on a given day. I was working out a lot less and not lifting nearly as heavy as I was during my freshman year. Then my sophomore year of college, February of 2018 until like March of 2019, I went into another bulk. Here again, I tracked one point like in the heat of my bulk. These are all super rough estimates when I talk about my calories, but I was eating anywhere between like 2,500 and 2,700 calories. So this just shows like how much I had to eat at certain periods to really put on the mass and the muscle that I wanted to. And I truly genuinely think that's what yielded me results like so fairly, I would say decently quickly, and really give me the shape that I have now. And also, to be honest, I did not train upper body a lot at this point at all, because I kind of was really scared, because I didn't like the way that I got freshman year. So I just like really wouldn't train upper body. Like this was the time where I started to like party more in college. So I think I was a little bit more lax on my training, but I just made sure that I really hammered in my leg days and make sure I'd hit my calories. But then I got to the point where I like really didn't like my upper body, because I was doing absolutely no upper body training like at all, not even like full body circuits with like full body movements that would kind of like yield some upper body work. Like I was doing absolutely nothing for my upper body. And here's when I really also honed in on hip thrusts, really focused on getting stronger with my hip thrust and just progressing in weight. I saw so much progress with my glutes this year. So here lies probably the biggest climax, turning point, problem area in my fitness journey was March of 2019, spring of my sophomore year of college. This is what I call the freak out. So like I said, I had gone through my second bulk. I was partying a lot more. I was a lot looser on my diet, but I still was just kind of eating everything. And all of a sudden it just hit me at once. that I was like, wow, I feel a lot larger than I normally am. I had the most body fat on me than I'd ever had in my life. Essentially, I freaked out really for no reason, but I freaked out just because I was, all of a sudden, I just was like so uncomfortable in my body. This, of course, is when I thought it was a good idea to try tracking for the first time to go into a cut. I explain more about this in my fitness journey, but essentially I cut my calories by literally 1,000, ramped up cardio when I was doing 0 cardio during the winter. So then I added in 4 HIIT cardio sessions a week, which is way too much. I would never recommend to do that to anybody. And let's just say my hormones had a panic attack between the intensity of the cardio and the really big slash in calories. I ended up having cortisol issues. I lost some weight. I ended up gaining it back because it just wasn't sustainable and my hormones were just all over the place. And so then from that point on, I kept trying to lose weight and I just couldn't. I didn't know how. Nothing was working for me. And so essentially from that point on till like the end of the year of 2019, I just kind of coasted. I was just really in this limbo because I didn't really know how to lose weight, but I didn't want to gain weight. So I wasn't really in a state of building muscle. I wasn't really in a state of losing fat. So I kind of was just in this really weird stalled limbo phase of my fitness journey for a solid amount of time. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys on that little bit of a cliffhanger right now. We're gonna go do some other festivities and then we'll revisit this and I'll tell you how I kind of came out of that phase. And then I do want to share with you guys like some of my all-time favorite exercises for certain muscle groups and things like that that I really utilized throughout my fitness journey to build like certain aspects of my physique. Do you want to know what I really wish more than anything? Is that I could get to the gym prior to 3:30 p.m. Diode. See you there. We're at the gym and I wanted to bridge this cliffhanger for you guys. So basically, long story short, all the way until like January 2020, I was really struggling with my weight, and then I went to study abroad in Spain. I come to find the beauty and the use of walking and daily steps and all of that sort of stuff when it comes to weight loss and just everything overall health. I kind of didn't really have an intentional like fat loss goal, but it just kind of happened just because of like the environment that I was in Europe, yada yada yada. Then summer of 2020, I went into my second cut, leaned out again, really focused on preserving muscle mass. I definitely was the leanest I had ever been with the most muscle mass I'd ever had on my body. And then moving into this past fall of 2020, I went into essentially a reverse diet, slowly upped my calories, decreased my cardio, got my metabolism to a better, more healthy level. I wouldn't really say I went into a bulk, but then like this past winter, I did go into like a slight surplus, I would say. Again, I was not tracking my calories. I did notice like a beautiful Malibu wake center boat just passed by. Tell me you're joking. That was so beautiful. Anyways, I did see like muscle gains, some strength gains, all that good stuff. And then I would say in March of 2020 of this year is when I went into a cut. So again, slowly decrease calories, slowly increase movement via daily steps. I added in 1 cardio session a week of HIIT cardio. And then once I kind of hit my fat loss goal and I was chilling with my physique, I went into more of a maintenance phase, slowly increased calories. Again, mindfully, I just made an intention to eat more while still kind of using my hunger cues as a gauge. Slowly decreased cardio again, essentially just took out my HIIT cardio session, and now this is kind of me now. So I guess with all that being said, I just wanted to show you how I did go through different phases in order to go through periods where I would prep my metabolism so then I was in more of a healthy place to be able to go into a deficit, and also to show you that there was times where I really did need to eat a lot of freaking food in order to really go full force into the goal that I had in mind and really prioritize strength and muscle growth. Now with that being said, I hope you guys noticed from me going through that whole timeline, if you will, that nothing really changed. I didn't really make drastic changes in my training style essentially, but more so the biggest changes was my amount of food that I was eating, because again, what is really more important is your calories in versus calories out, not necessarily what you're eating. Of course, I'm always making an intention to focus on eating whole foods and a high protein diet. Those two things never really changed, but again, the more so thing was I would be changing my portion sizes and would make just little substitutes that would help achieving those caloric caloric goals easier by making it easier to be in a caloric deficit or caloric surplus for me. And secondly, my intensity of my training sessions are essentially like my push for progressive overload, right? So at the times that I really wanted to gain muscle mass, that's when I would be eating more, like I said, and I really would be honing in on my training intensity and making sure I'm trying to constantly push my weight during my sessions. Whereas I would be in a phase where I wanted to lean out or kind of be a little bit more athletic, more agile, wasn't super focused on building muscle, I would decrease my calories and I wouldn't be super hyper focused on pushing my weight all the time. I just would be trying to, you know, keep up my training intensity in the sense of just like training hard. Another point that I wanted to stress is one thing that never changed is my intention to constantly eat a high protein diet. That never changed. No matter if I was in a fat loss phase, a muscle building phase, a maintenance phase, I always tried to have a high protein diet. Roughly around 1 gram of protein per body pound that I weigh has always been my ideal aim. And then lastly, I guess I just wanted to run through some of my favorite exercises for each muscle group. I'll give you guys like 1 to 2 of my favorite exercises just that like I feel like really helped me throughout these past 5 years of lifting. I'm gonna start with legs, of course. I'll do one for glutes, hamstrings, and quads. I already thought about this one. Top exercise for glutes is always gonna be hip thrusts. Do different variations of hip thrusts. Focus on increasing your weight on hip thrusts. I'm telling you, it's life-changing. For hamstrings, it has to be stiff leg deadlifts easily. Next one, I'm gonna go with reverse lunges for quads, you guys. I thought about Bulgarian split squats. Hack squat is up there too, but really I want to say reverse lunges on the Smith machine is where it's at for me. Now in terms of back, I feel like I saw a ton of progress when I did the vertical lat pull down. Was a really big one for me. And then also just a normal like horizontal barbell row. That one really helped me increase just my overall strength. In terms of chest, I personally really like the flat bench dumbbell chest press is what I would say. Like it definitely better than using a barbell. My favorite bicep exercise is a declined concentration curl where I'm sitting at like a 45-degree angle or 30-degree angle. I don't really remember. I just set the bench and then I basically come down to a hammer curl coming up, so my palms are facing inward to me. Then when I hit my hip, I rotate outward at the tops for the second half of the curl to be a normal bicep curl grip with my palms facing up. Such a good one. There's such a good range of motion, and since you're so stationary, eliminates like all momentum. For triceps, I really just love a good old tricep extension with the rope attachment. Definitely rope attachment on the cables. I don't even know what body part is left. Calves, don't train them, so I wouldn't know. Kidding, but not freaking kidding. Oh my gosh, shoulders, duh. Rear delt specifically, which is the back of your shoulder. I'm gonna say the bent over like cable fly single arm. So the cable's at the bottom of the rack. I just hold on to the cable itself and basically I do a single arm reverse fly outward with my pinky up to the sky. That's a superb one. Then normal for like the side of your shoulder, lateral raises, you can't beat them. For the front of your shoulder, I personally really like doing chest flies, which is gonna hit your chest, but also your interior delt too. I personally would really focus on lifting heavy as I could with good form, focusing on my compound movements with my lower body movements, which I have a whole video about that and how I train my glutes for growth within like the 8 to 12 rep range, focusing on compound and isolation moves. And then in terms of my upper body, I found the best way that I liked my upper body was implementing weighted movements, but also body weight movements and some cardio components really helped my upper body be the way that I like it. So I don't really ever feel a need to lift really heavy with my upper body just because it makes me personally just have a lot of mass in my upper body. So I save that type of training for my lower body to help me get mass in my lower body and then focus on some lighter weights, a little bit higher reps, anywhere between like 3 sets of 15 to 20 to 25 reps for my upper body, and again incorporating more body weight movements. So I'm gonna go work out now. I'm gonna go hit legs. I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful to you guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. I love you.